Marcus Tullius Cicero, 106–43 BC, was a Roman orator, statesman, and man of letters who was born near Arpinum, in Latium. He was involved in many political events of his time, and he also wrote about them. That was the time of decline and fall of the Roman Republic. He was trained for political life partly at Rome and partly at Athens, distinguished himself as the first orator at the Roman bar when he was 30, and afterwards rose through the successive grades of civic rank till he attained the consulship in 1963 BC. During this period, he acquired great popularity by his exposure and defeat of the conspiracy of Catiline, by which he earned the title of Father of his country, though there were those who condemned his action and procured his banishment for a time. On his recall, which was unanimous, he took sides first with Pompey, then with Cæsar after Pharsalia, on whose death he delivered a Philippic against Antony. Cicero was proscribed by the second triumvirate, and put to death by Antony's soldiers. He was, without doubt, the foremost of Roman orators, the most elegant writer of the Latin language, and has left behind him orations, letters, and treatises, very models of their kind, though he was not a deep thinker, and his philosophy was more eclectic than original. Wisdom and quotes. Persistence in one opinion has never been considered a merit in political leaders. Ad familiar. Justice is the crowning glory of the virtues. De officiis. The function of wisdom is discriminating between good and evil. De officiis. We should never take pleasure in causing pain to others, even to those who have wronged us, but rather strive to do good to all. De officiis. Injustice often arises also through chicanery, that is, through an over-subtle and even fraudulent construction of the law. This it is that gave rise to the now familiar saw, more law, less justice. De officiis on duties. We are not born for ourselves alone, a part of us is claimed by a nation, another part by our friends. De officiis on duties. But still anger ought be far from us, for nothing is able to be done rightly nor judiciously with anger. De officiis on duties. Let your desires be ruled by reason. De officiis on duties. For fear is but a poor safeguard of lasting power, while affection, on the other hand, may be trusted to keep it safe forever. De officiis on duties. Laws are silent in time of war. Pro milone. Force overcome by force. Pro milone. Memory is the treasury and guardian of all things. De orator. History is truly the witness of times past, the light of truth, the life of memory, the teacher of life, the messenger of antiquity, whose voice, but the orators, can entrust her to immortality? De orator. I should prefer an eloquent good sense to loquacious folly. De orator on the orator. The works of nature must all be accounted good. De senectute. Nothing quite new is perfect. Brutus. The name of peace is sweet and the thing itself is good, but between peace and slavery there is the greatest difference. Philippics. The sinews of war. Unlimited money. Philippic. We. The life of the dead is in the memory of the living. Philippici, Philippics. In the common people there is no wisdom, no penetration, no power of judgment. Pro plantio. The people's good is the highest law. De legibus, on the laws. Let the punishment match the offense. De legibus, on the laws. For there is but one essential justice which cements society, and one law which establishes this justice. This law is right reason, which is the true rule of all commandments and prohibitions. Whoever neglects this law, whether written or unwritten, is necessarily unjust and wicked. De legibus, on the laws. For what is there more hideous than avarice, more brutal than lust, more contemptible than cowardice, more base than stupidity and folly? De legibus, on the laws. Let the welfare of the people be the ultimate law. De legibus, on the laws. Let the punishment match the offense. De legibus, on the laws. There is nothing so ridiculous, but some philosopher has said it. De divination. We are all motivated by a keen desire for praise, and the better a man is, the more he is inspired by glory. Pro urcia. Reason is the ruler and queen of all things. Tusculane disputations. O tempora. O mores. O the times! O the manners! In Catilinum. Victory is by nature insolent and haughty. Pro Marcello. As for me, I cease not to advocate peace. It may be on unjust terms, but even so it is more expedient than the justest of civil wars. Epistulae ad Atticum, letters to Atticus. Gratitude is not only the greatest of virtues, but the parent of all others. That which is most excellent, and is most to be desired by all happy, honest and healthy-minded men, is dignified leisure. Pro Publio Sestio. There is a true law, a right reason, conformable to nature, universal, unchangeable, eternal, whose commands urge us to duty, and whose prohibitions restrain us from evil. This law cannot be contradicted by any other law, and is not liable either to derogation or abrogation. It needs no other expositor and interpreter than our own conscience. He who obeys it not, flies from himself, and does violence to the very nature of man. For his crime, he must endure the severest penalties hereafter, even if he avoid the usual misfortunes of the present life. De re publica. The beginnings of all things are small. De finibus bonorum et malorum. If you have a garden and a library, you have everything you need. Tu varo. In Ad Familiars 9. Constant practice devoted to one subject often prevails over both ability and skill. Pro bulbo. For it is not having insufficient knowledge, but persisting a long time in insufficient knowledge that is shameful, since the one is assumed to be a disease common to all, but the other is assumed to be a flaw to an individual. De invention. Any man can make mistakes, but only a fool persists in his error. De invention. Not to know what happened before you were born is to be a child forever. For what is the time of a man, except it be interwoven with that memory of ancient things of a previous age? Orator ad m brutum. To be ignorant of the past is to be forever a child. Orator ad m brutum. We do not destroy religion by destroying superstition. De divination on divination. No one is so old as to think that he cannot live one more year. Cato mad de senectute on old age. For such is the work of philosophy. It cures souls, draws off vain anxieties, confers freedom from desires, drives away fears. Tusculanae disputations, Tusculan disputations. Diseases of the mind are more common and more pernicious than diseases of the body. Tusculanae disputations, Tusculan disputations. Philosophy is certainly the medicine of the soul. Its aid is to be sought not from without, as in diseases of the body, and we must labor with all our resources and with all our strength to cure ourselves. Tusculanae disputations, Tusculan disputations. The wise man is always happy. Tusculanae disputations, Tusculan disputations. For the habit of arguing in support of atheism, whether it be done from conviction or in pretense, is a wicked and impious practice. De natura deorum on the nature of the gods. We think a happy life consists in tranquility of mind. De natura deorum on the nature of the gods. For time destroys the fictions of error and opinion, while it confirms the determinations of nature and of truth. De natura deorum on the nature of the gods.